say welcome to CSESoc's 2023 annual general meeting. Before we begin, please scan this QR code to fill in our attendance form. We'll need at least 15 responses before we begin. So the CSESoc Kensington campus is located in the territory of the Gadigal people, and we begin today by acknowledging them as the traditional custodians of this land. We'd also like to pay our respects to the elders, both past and present, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders who are present here with us today. So for our agenda today, we'll start off with apologies, followed by executive reports, then director reports, constitution changes, finally election results and business without host. Okay. For the apologies, Priscilla, our Jedi officer, is attending online on Zoom, or not Zoom, Google Meets. And Keith, our secretary, is unable to attend this meeting and sends his apologies. Okay, to start off the president's report, I'll take you back to the start of this journey. It's kind of crazy how quickly time passes. I remember sitting up in these seats in that board, in like the back row, watching Lachlan and Juliana present their president's report in 2022. One of their key reflections was that they wished they welcomed more external members in their team when recruiting, since almost everyone in last year's directorship team came internally from Subcom the year before. And that piece of advice was something Amanda and I really took on board this year when recruiting our amazing team of directors. We tried to make sure there was a balance between recruiting internal members and those who had never been in CSESoc before. And I think that was one of the key elements that made our events, our content, and our friendships flourish with diverse perspectives and innovative ideas this year. So, what did we achieve? What were our highlights? From our story, you can tell that this year we were very much focused on two things: diversity and innovation. For diversity, one of our big visions was to actively reach out and support people from different backgrounds, no matter their culture, location, degree, status, interests, or needs. Our goals included launching at least 2 events/resources targeted towards postgrads, 3 charity events /resources, so this included like Paint Straight for Earth Day to raise money for the environment, and some of the upcoming events include Build Green and Blood Drive, so you should go to those. And also, our other goals also included 2 events/resources targeted to international students, and 1 collab with another uni. So we had many collabs with other societies and other unis this year, including an upcoming one with the University of Auckland in New Zealand. Internally, we also introduced EDI checks for every single event. Okay, for innovation, we wanted to create our offerings and launch events and content which were wanted and beneficial. Some of these goals included ensuring that all the events we run are high quality and encourage new and innovative ideas. Some cool events we had for the first time ever included CSESoc Ball, All Years Camp, and CSESoc Goes to Mardi Gras. So shout out to those amazing Portugal brandos. We also saw some pretty cool collabs happen between different portfolios, which opened up the coolest range of merch CSESoc has ever seen, and fun coding competitions, like our recent Chug and Debug. We also want to reduce event oversaturation and clashing events. So our VP, Felix, shout out to him, introduced an events calendar to ensure that all our events were planned at the beginning of the term to avoid overlapping events between different portfolios. Finally, we really wanted to collab with the School of CSE to innovate for students. So since CSESoc is affiliated with the School of CSE, our mutual support for each other is something we really cherish. This year we put a bigger focus on communicating more regularly and effectively with the wonderful staff academics, so we could collab with events and work together to innovate on how to best support CSE students. So we want to say a big thank you to them. Of course, all of these events and content we highlighted this year has only just skimmed the surface of the amazing stuff that CSESoc has accomplished. So get keen to hear more about it when the directors come to a visit. Now, what didn't we achieve this year? Our main area of improvement this year was feedback. So we wanted to obtain and read feedback for 100% of events and implement feedback for 30% of feedback received. Some of our events had feedback forms and offered incentives to increase completion, but overall we didn't receive many responses. This is an area that we wish we had actively reached out to the broader community for. goals was to have a WeChat presence, so we could offer students in China a more intuitive way to connect with our online events and opportunities. However, we did run into a lot of citizenship problems when we were trying to create the account, so that didn't end up happening. We also had a big dream of revitalising the Discord, and we made a start on that, but there's still a lot of work to do. So, reflections and advice. So 2023 was a year of a lot of change for CSESoc, spurred by both our drive to innovate, as well as the natural exponential growth of our society. For the latter, we were faced with quite big decisions on the structure of our society, including the introduction of new portfolios and the splitting of our society into CSESoc and the new DevSoc. So yeah, DevSoc's pretty cool, you should check out them. And as with almost any change, there is possibility, there is growth, but there is also controversy and mistakes. We learned that when we're standing at a crossroad, it's almost impossible to predict which path is the right one to take. And often you end up realizing that there really is no right path. Each path will have its own bumps and its own criticisms. So here's a bit of advice to our incoming execs and to anyone else who might also be standing at a crossroad, now or sometime in the future, trying to decide which journey to take. Take the path that feels more right and commit to it, knowing that in that moment you had made a decision based off your best knowledge at the moment. Don't hesitate or backtrack on it, and don't try to pick down the other path you didn't take. Don't spend a 3-hour meeting, like we did, trying to weigh out the nitty-gritty for each path in an attempt to not make the wrong choice. Just do what feels right, step into it, and then trust. Amanda now go through some stats.
Yes, just very quickly from me, some of my favourite stats. Comp sci in UNSW every year just gets bigger and bigger, so obviously CSESoc gets bigger and bigger every year as well. So all our social media sites grew basically exponentially. We had a crazy number of events just on Facebook alone. We collaborated actually this year with 20 unique societies. So we talked to 20 other societies across UNSW and we did events with them. So we're actually like spreading our reach into other faculties and other hobby sorts as well. And lastly, we had about 260 internal team members. So there's about 8,000 members of CSESoc and 260 of those are in the internal team. But there's just one team and we love you all. And yeah, that's signing out from us, the presidents. Next we'll pass to Mel for the treasurer's report.
Hi everyone, so I'm Melanie and I'll be going through an overview of the financials for this past year. So a quick summary of all our expenditure. Our external team spent a total of $130,000, external $18,500, development $5,000, and $1,000 was spent on general admin and 2022 rollover expenses. We break it down each team. So for externals, the careers team currently spent just over $5,000 on the career panels and industry mentoring programs. Competitions have spent over $6,000 for all their training comps. Our free barbecues have currently totaled to $11,000 and we spent over $70,000 those 2 camps this year. So that's not being done before, so big props for events for hosting 2 massive camps. Events have also spent over $5,000 on their pub crawls and balls. Socials spent over $5,000 on their paintballing stress festival. Outreach has spent over $7,000 on their International Women's Day and Pride events. And these are just a few snippets of all the amazing events that these external teams have organized. For internals, we've spent over $17,000 on merch so far. The creative team worked so hard to design lots of new merch for O-Week, and of course the hoodies have been a massive project. Media has spent over $1,000 on new equipment and subscriptions to bring you better content, and that's similarly with the online team who've worked hard to improve the experience on Discord. So that's a total expenditure of $18,500. And now onto the development team. So we've greatly expanded the development teams with the addition of the training program, UI, UX, culture, and content. $1,700 was spent on maintaining the platforms and infrastructure of our development projects. $900 was spent on the many students who apply of our projects and training program. Education have spent $1,700 on their workshops and revision sessions. Content has spent $600 on new equipment to provide us with more media content. And UI/UX has spent $100 to improve the design of our bridges. So that's $2,500 spent for, oh sorry. And for admin, $600 was spent on that, so that was for induction costs and payments to staff. $300 was rollover expenses for 2022, and we're projected to spend $1,000 for Comp Club to help with their events. That's a total of $1,000 for just miscellaneous expenses. So, altogether we spent $138,944.04. But we are projected to spend over $180,000. That's for all the events planned for this term, SOC tails, the merch, content, and maintenance for our development projects. Now, looking at our income, our primary source comes from company sponsorships, who our lovely careers team work hard to get and maintain good relationships with. We currently have over $60,000 in the bank from them, but we are expected to receive over $71,000 by the end of the year. We received over $2,000 from art grants to help with our socials and outreach events. And our external teams have collected over $75,000 in ticket sales for all their events. Creative have collected over $11,000 in merch sales, and we've earned over $500 in bank interest. In total, we've received $151,997.12 in income as of today. But we are expected to collect $10,000 more from outstanding sponsorship money and bank interest. So we started off the year with just under $80,000 in the bank, and today we hold $91,858.05, which gives us a positive net cash flow of $12,000. However, taking into account our projected income and expenditure, we expect for a deficit of over $20,000. Now this sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but our society is not meant to be a profitable business. It was created for the students, so holding on to this money is not very productive. We wanted to give students more opportunities and resources. And also with the expansion of our team here today, it was found that we produce bigger and better events, more content, and all that. So that's why we are in this booth. Thank you so much for everyone who made this year possible. Thank you.
Now, just a quick word from Becca about art.
Hello, so instead of the usual ArcDel report, which is the same every year, which is room bookings and art grants, I just wanted to give a little shout out to the O-Wing store at the start of this year because it was quite impressive. It was basically a way to introduce CSESoc to new university students and just show how amazing our society and community is. This involved over 35 plus volunteers over 4 days, working non-stop from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m, sharing the amazing events and programs CSESoc has to offer, especially for first years. Shout out to Creative for making the amazing O-Week specific merch, such as the tote bags, the patches, the kid stickers, and also marketing for sharing our store online. We're proud to say that this year, the O-Week store had one of the most attendees, and also we gave away as much merch, including sponsor and CSESoc merch. That's all for you.
Yeah. Alright, thank you everyone. That concludes the executive reports. I move to accept the President, Treasurer and ArcDel reports. Do I have a seconder for this motion?
I second.
Thank you, Mel. Yay! Alright, now we'll be moving on to the Director reports. So our first team is Creative. So please come
Unfortunately, Eric is sick and Chelsea's overseas, but that's okay. We're the creative team and we're the ones who are behind most of CSESoc's visual content. So our visions this year were to support creative artistic development, expand the reach of our merch, collaborate with the internal and external teams, and have a visibility for self-care. We try to work towards these goals and also visions by working all together on banners. But we split the team into 3 streams, so comics and logos, merch, and mini projects. And by doing this, we wanted to take on all different kinds of projects this year. So starting off with banners, as of AGM, our team has produced 84 banners for the society this year, and this number is expected to grow as the external teams push out the remainder of the events this year. Of all the banners that Subcom made, they hand drew around 40% of these. This was never the expectation, but they just apparently really wanted to hand draw their banners, but regardless, we're super proud of their work. Comics was an initiative that continued from last year, and it turned into almost monthly releases with every member of the stream collaborating on different aspects of each comic. Our also almost monthly, if not sometimes fortnightly, logo changes was something we expanded on this year with outreach. We wanted to celebrate different festivals and events throughout the year, and through the stream, so with both comics and logos, we wanted to focus on our vision of giving Subcom the opportunity to kind of express their own individual and unique art styles. Okay, merch. This year we put a bigger focus on supporting other portfolios and their request for customized event-specific merch, and that included CSESoc's first ever temporary tattoos. On top of that, we pushed out 3 pieces of customized early merch, first year camp shirts, Pride Month prize merch, and of course our 2023 hoodies, which featured our first ever green and maroon hoodie options. That is not to say that we are also currently planning an end of year merch drop, and I'll hint at the theme, but I cannot reveal any more. Okay, our last stream is mini projects, so that's our yearbook stream. For the first time ever, CSESoc is working on releasing an internal yearbook. We want this to be an opportunity to celebrate all the memories that were made, the hard work completed, and the friendships formed, and everything in between. Societies are a really formative experience of university life, and we wanted to give you guys a token of the year to look back on. Okay, in terms of our goals at the beginning of this year, we made 13 goals, and it spanned merch-related, Subcom-related, and general work goals. Of these 13, we successfully achieved 9 of them, but 4 of them are currently in progress to hopefully be achieved by the end of this year. Okay, I'm going to end off with a massive shout out to our Subcom. The work we do is tough and a lot. It requires a lot of mental capacity and time. They've shown consistent efforts to push out amazing content with us this year as part of Creative. So that wraps up Creative. I'll pass the mic to the port, whose only successful viral TikTok was made by dev content.
Hello, I'm going to be presenting for marketing. Unfortunately, my co-director is sick as well, so it will just be me today. So for 2023, marketing's goals are solidifying an online presence of CSESoc, creating an environment that encourages growth and quality over quantity content. So the way we try to achieve this is by what's that word for making everything the same? Anyways, that's what we did for the highlights. Consistency, and for creating an encouraging environment, we try to facilitate strong relationships with our Subcom and making sure that there's open communication. And then finally, for quality content, we created this thing called marketing packages, which is where people who are creating new events can let us know what type of marketing they would like. What are those? Alright, so just some statistics about our growth this year. Our Instagram has grown by 589%, thank you to the dev viral TikTok. And then for this as well, we have over 50,000 account interactions, and then finally, 3 times more community-based content, which is basically we try to include more photos and videos of people who aren't in the internal team of CSESoc. Alright. I think one of the biggest feats we've had for marketing is that we have taken multiple photos this year. 3,000 as a number doesn't consider all the photos that are not edited. So this is just a brief number of all the photos we take for all events. Next on the agenda is us trying to make our weekly push a bit more people-friendly. In 2022, we realized that it was a lot more graphic based and it felt kind of like lifeless. So our goal for 2023 was to make pictures, have pictures of people who are just normal CSES students. And then our final feat is first year camp. So first year camp is a big event at the start of 2023, and we wanted to talk about our coverage for this event. So we have taken over 400 photos for this event and had stories and videos and Instagram press release. And this is something that we really wanted to achieve because it's an event that we all appreciated and had a lot of fun at. So that's what we did. And final thing is a thank you to my beautiful subcom, because a lot of marketing work is very constant. We work very closely with creative, and there's a lot of back and forth chatting and figuring out details, and we couldn't have done anything we did this year without their great commitment to this society. Yay! Our two TikToks released this year, one was about raising trees.
Okay, hello, we are media. I'm Ivan, this is Leslie, and this is Sam. We are the media directors. Okay.
Yeah, so our visions this year were to have consistent releases. We wanted to write more articles, to make articles cool again, and these lovely tenets, diversity, innovation, and engagement. Wanted diverse content, innovative content that was fun and fresh and funky, and engagement, so it had more like external input to the content we made. So.
Okay, well, to be fair, actually yesterday we actually just released our third reel, so that makes 1 out of 3 about rating trees. Regardless of that, we've made 18 pieces of content so far this year, 2 of them being articles, 11 of them being videos. Our most viewed TikTok has 36,000 views on TikTok. We have 12,000 downloads on our podcast, up from I think it was 10,000 or so last year. And then most importantly, of course, we are monetized. And we have earned the grand total of $20.25. Regardless though, there are still, these are gold. Actually before that. Regardless of that though, we still have quite a few more pieces of content coming up. So there's probably another reel coming out next 2 days or so, and then all year's camp video and a whole bunch of other videos coming along as well. They're cooking.
Please subscribe.
We need more money.
Okay, so this year media had some ambitious goals this year. For videos, we did complete all our goals for videos. However, podcasts and articles, we were a little bit lacking. But in terms of subcommittee, we did achieve all of our principles that we set out in our visions. And our goals here, yay! And of course, a huge shout out to our media team, my co-directors, Ivan and Leah, and subcom Ash, Ashwin, Angelina, Cassie, Chris, Dylan, Gloria, Jeff, JJ, Leo M, Leo X, and Michael. Yay! Yes, as Sam said, upcoming projects, there's a ton of them, you can read them. Make sure to subscribe, turn on the notifications.
Yeah, so that they're extremely hard work chugging along at T3. You don't want to miss that. There's some pretty interesting stuff. All right. We would pass it off to creative again, but they have it pretty rough. So, as the little banner minions of the society. Anyways, it's creatives.
Yes, I'd like to call the careers directors up to present their report now.
Everyone. All 4 of you.
We are the current careers directors. My name is Liz.
Broom. Asher.
Fiona.
Just a quick shout out to all of our CSESoc. You guys were amazing this year. So we had Ali, Lily, Rav, Catherine, Max, Robbie, Eric, Rock, Ryan, Kelly, and Sky. So this this year we had the following competitions. So the first being inclusivity and bonding. We wanted to make sure that at the heart of each of the events that we were organizing, that we were catering towards everyone. Ways that we did this was we promoted diversity during Pride Month this year, so we were able to bring in one of our pattern sponsors, Aladdin, to hold a side in collaboration with Outreach. Thank you, Outreach. With a panel focused on discussing diversity and experiences working in a company. As directors, we know firsthand how large the workload for CSESoc can be. So we wanted to emphasize bonding this year. This can be seen as our movement group chat. We actually made it out of the group chat, which is great. As well as our tribe portfolio road trip with content outreach earlier this year, which is great.
So our second vision was promoting quality over quantity by reducing the amount of events we ran in favour of higher quality events. This is a goal that we are still currently in the process of achieving, but was something that happened rather organically due to having less sponsors than last year. So we as a society are for students, so we wanted to ensure that events we made were not only catered towards them, but that we make decisions focused on ensuring students get the most out of the event, not solely the sponsors. So the careers team this year made sure that we host events with sponsors in flexi weeks or earlier on in the term when there are not as many assessments. And our last goal was collaboration, open communication. This was actually actualized through the creation of the careers. This goes a shout out to Rock and Rav for being a major help in this. We hope to head this over to next year's careers team.
In Iraq, 2023 has been focused on inflicting our visions. As directors, our first workshop run that we did in the first few weeks as directors was filled with numerous changes to the structure and composition of sponsorship packages. In tandem with the executive team and previous career directors, we increased the value of sponsorship packages across the board in order to organically reduce the number of sponsors that we were collaborating with. This had the effect of having sponsors who are very involved in the process of creating events.
These are some of the events we had this year. Some of these include Grand Intern Panel, Industry Mentoring Program, Orion Beauty Crash Course, and our flagship hackathon. Shout out to marketing and creative for always dealing with us. You guys have been amazing with our last minute and often half-filled marketing forms. We'll make it an extra priority during handover to new directors that these get done properly. We still have a couple of events left, so make sure to keep your eye out. We have our TikTok talk, Nero Hackathon, Citadel site visit, and our FMAA and annual networking night. Also, later on in the year, in collaboration with socials, we began our endeavour to have social sponsors. This is a current endeavour that we hope to pass on to our next year's director.
Range of CSE students, not just people who've done a lot of competitions in the past before, so especially beginners and people who are not as familiar with our contests. We wanted to diversify our competitions as well, so look at doing things more than just your algos, lead code style questions, and also collaborating with new societies, new groups, doing things like that. And then finally, we wanted to kind of solidify our competition's identity. We're still a relatively new portfolio, having only been around for 2 years. And I think we've kind of figured ourselves out, which is great. And our goal is generally focusing on developing engaging events that kind of encourage people to learn beyond the uni content that the CSE faculty provides. And also meet new people, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, some of the goals we achieved this year were we wanted to create 2 events which were specifically targeted at beginners. So, for example, we had our Rookie Code Rumble early in term 2, as well as the Chart and Debug event, which happened yesterday. Shout out to socials for helping us out with that. We wanted to run at least one design or case study style competition, and so we had a design contest as part of the Rookie Code Rumble. as well as our CSE flagship hackathon, which we worked on with careers. And finally, we wanted to continue to scale up some of our biggest contests, so the hackathon and the upcoming annual code competition, which has turned into the Inter-Unicon.
Okay, some of our achievements for the year, so these are some stats. So we had about 500 plus participants over all our events, and a prize pool of $8,000, more than $8,000. We have only ran like 6 events so far. We have one more coming up soon, and we collaborated with 8 other societies, including interstate and overseas as well, New Zealand. We have about 2,000 plus HackerRank submissions for the year. So here are the events that we ran this year. So we started the year off with the IMC coding competition. It's completely sponsored by IMC with $2,000 in prizes. We have the beginner comp, so the rookie code bundle, in collaboration with CSESoc and CSESoc. We had the annual flagship hackathon in collaboration with careers. Code Quest, which was a collaboration with Monash University. Champion Debug, which was yesterday, in collaboration with socials, and the Inter-Uni competition coming up really soon, next week, so please come, with UCID, Uni Mel, Uni of Adelaide, Uni of Auckland. Yeah.
Cool, so yeah, just some reflections on the year. We have done a lot, and there's been some great things that we have achieved, but also there are still some things that we could improve on. One of these is to engage more with the CSE community. Like we really haven't directly talked to our participants that much, and we have not incentivized them to give us a lot of feedback. And a reflection this year is to really make our events more focused on participation than on the actual competition itself, and to say no to collabs and events if we think we cannot have, if we do not have the capacity to handle it. And yeah, just to sum up with our portfolio here, we have Jason, Wade, and me as the competitions directors, and then we have a lovely subcom, Navia, Krisha, Jonathan, Anish, then Aleph, Ivan, Jordan, and Phyllis.
Okay. So, hello, my name is Justin.
Nicole.
And we're the events directors. So we'll just get into it. So our visions for 2023 were 4 main points. One was fairness. We wanted to promote transparent, inclusive event organization, and want to encourage diverse participation and open idea sharing among stakeholder members. We also want to promote kindness. We want to foster understanding, empathy, and patience in collaboration with other societies, internal teams, and within our events. Universality, we want to also promote inclusive events, broaden reach beyond the CSE community. We have actually achieved this by doing our upcoming inter-faculty sports days, so make sure you sign up for that. We want to diversify event settings and offer personalized care options. And as for communication, we want to encourage our portfolio members to be open and communicate on any issues when it comes to event planning or in life in general. There's a lot of reading, but I'll just get through it quickly. Our goals again, so we have social engagements. We want to create opportunities for students to socialize, make new friends, and build a sense of community. We got this done pretty well, I think, by the weekly barbecues that we did. And we also did some twists by doing the cultural barbecue with Outreach and the Snap and Slam with Careers. So I think shout out to Careers and Outreach. We want to help students form everlasting memories and traditions. So they can look back at it when they graduate or when they move on to their future lives. Stress relief, we want to obviously give people a time to relax after the exam, so we have planned the bowl right after the end of the exam period so people can go and relax after that. And something experience, we learn more internal bonding while incorporating some into planning and organizing the process of flagship events. We actually did go on a road trip with socials earlier, and we also went on a Melbourne trip, so that did happen.
We've had some really successful barbecues with menus ranging from snags to GYG, Krispy Kremes, Domino's, scones. And we've also collaborated with a lot of student organisations and sponsors that have provided the CSE community opportunities to network and mingle. But there is one star player that needs a special mention. Without them, we could not have been able to do the work that we do. And that person is, or thing, Jebediah Dump Truck. So Jebediah Dump Truck deserves his own slide in our AGM presentation. I'll make it nice and quick, but here's a little bit, like a little story about his life, yeah. I don't know if this is the common denominator here, but ever since I started dating Justin, back in March, things have decided to go downhill. In April, he suffered a really serious accident, and he sort of became a child over. We had to put him down, but we got a replacement, and we gave him lots of love. Well, Felix did. But a couple weeks later, our vegetarian resident, Jess, she broke down as well. And we had to put her down as well. And our current Jebediah number 2 is also a little bit in shambles. It's only been a term. Hopefully next year's children can provide some more sponsors, provide more money for our launch. Anyways, let's rewind on some of the events that we've had this year. So first year camp, we had 180 plus attendees, and we had an average experience rating of 8.6, which is really freaking high. And then at Pop Crawl, we had 150 plus attendees, and our tickets sold out in 3 seconds. Second up, we collaborated with Chris for a LinkedIn profile photo shoot. Oyster Camp, it was the first ever AOC, let's move on. Ball, we had 120 attendees, and it was a massive success. It was our first ever ball for the society. And then for our Seattle recruitment, we interviewed over 100 people across the 2 camps. And here are some photos of some of the events that we've held. That's Mandel. Okay.
So we still have 2 more events coming up, or 3 more events coming up. So one which will be released like within the next 2 days or so is the pop crawl. That's actually unreleased, so you guys get a quick sneak peek at SAP. We also have an Interfact tournament, so that's CSESoc against all the big other big societies. So please sign up. We need more people for our tryouts. But yeah, and at the end of the year, we will have a mystery event. It starts with an S, ends with Octel, so you guys can guess what that is. Yeah, and big shout out to Subcom. Definitely couldn't have done it without you guys. From the directors, we absolutely love you guys, and our friendship will last past this year. So who we have? We have Audrey, Emma, Francis, Jack, Jasmine, Kevin, Lachlan, and Jane. Thank you guys so much.
And our resident fish pop Outreach!
Hello, we are Outreach.
Okay, so our visions for this year were the kind of wedding, but provide opportunities for minorities to feel part of the community, ensure all events are not superficial, but instead appropriate and wanted. All events are open to everyone in the community, and educate the community about difference from minorities and the struggles they may face. So those were our visions. Oh, and also Subcom, of course. Development and fun.
Yeah, for our goals, since this was the first year for Outreach, me and Elizabeth both wanted to be a bit ambitious, and we did go overboard with our goals. I will talk a bit more about our goals, but like pretty much what we had in mind for Outreach was to have consistent events, to have events for minorities, to have events for people outside of CSE, which I think we were able to do so.
Okay, yes, and this is a bit of an overview of everything we've done. So T1, we had our 4 events. We had Mardi Gras, International Women's Day and Open Night, hide and seek collaboration with ACYA and INSOC, so a few different societies that we haven't clubbed with before. A paint-to-tote charity event, and then T2, we went on to our big Pride Month series of events, which was CSESoc Pride at Atlassian with our careers team, thanks to careers, our Pride Creation Station, and finally our Pride Month event. And then
we also had cultural barbecue events. Thank you, events, for being our barbecue slate on the day. And finally, to finish off term 2, we had CSESoc Drinks with Academics. Shout out to Seb, if he's watching this AGM. Moving on to term 3, we started off the term with Pride and Entirety. For our next event, which is this Friday, 4 to 6:30, Design Studio Level 5, J17 Ainsworth. Bill Green, we also have CSESoc Blue with Wellness, an accessible UX UI workshop, and a mystery end of the year event. This is going to be fun.
And then leading on to 2024, well, who knows, sky's the limit, right? So these are just photos of our events, our T1 events, and then our T2 events. And then
yeah, we love numbers. So just some stats. One of our most successful events, Pride and I, had more than 200 people attend on the day. We had 12 events and more counting to come up throughout the 3 terms we've been here. We've had 11 CSESoc EDI logo changes and counting, which are there's going to be more coming in the remainder of the term. We've had an average of 4 events per term, with term 2 and term 1 both having 5, and this term also projecting 5 as well. Infinite amount of fun, hard work, and laughter, and 1 amazing outreach team.
okay, and finally, so what we've achieved. So you can see that we've achieved a good number of our goals. Some of them we realized that high school is probably going to be better for Club to do it, and focus groups we didn't get a chance to do it, so we would love to potentially do something like that next year. And we have a few in progress goals, which are basically goals that are for each term, that we kind of wanted something for each term. So by the end of term 3, those goals should be completed and done. And then finally some improvements from what we've seen this year. We want to have, of course, the greater focus on research, understanding what students want, more educational events, resources and workshops, and of course continue to increase our reach to further collaborate with other societies, and of course more consistent events for different minority groups.
Yeah, finally, a big shout out to all our kids. We couldn't have done anything this year without them. Yeah, we were coming into this term, we were pretty ambitious, and we knew we could only do this with them. So a big shout out to Denton, Diego, Faye, Joyce, Karen, Kevin, Olivia, and Sapphire. We love you all, and thank you for being amazing. And last but not least, socials.
Okay, my co-director is Anish in Korea and Ella is busy, so I'll be presenting socials. So basically, socials is a new portfolio for this year. Our main role is to organize more of the low-key events and have it more regularly so people can engage with the community and get to know more people. So our main visions and goals for this year was to have more quality events. Even though we are having more frequent events, we wanted to maintain the quality by having well thought out and planned events. And having a goal and purpose in mind by bringing the community together and trying to encourage people to meet new people. And of course having fun was the main focus of all our events. Secondly, inclusivity, prioritizing EDI, ensuring that we're creating a welcoming and supportive environment where people don't feel isolated. One of our goals to do this is to encourage people to have a way to meet new people at events, even if it's individuals. So we had a lot of initiatives such as let me think. Such as putting the name tags and having food available early on at events so people get to encourage and mingle with each other. Secondly, improvement. We're really focused on improvement, whether it be through implementing feedback after events, encouraging them to scan the QR codes,
and also within our internal teams by having one-on-ones with our subcom to improve their experience as well. Lastly, variety events, especially since socials is a new portfolio, we wanted to really test what socials can do by having lots of new, creative, diverse events that we've never done before. So some events are like AGM paintball that have never been done before. We're going to be doing a blood drive, and also our recent chugging debug is the first that has been seen in CSESoc. And by doing so, we hope to engage with different types of people and different types of interests within the community. So in term one of our biggest focus was peer mentoring program. I think a lot of people in this room probably were part of the program. So we made a lot of changes to previous years' program. So before the program even started, we had mentor bondings. We had 2 mentor bondings so they get to know each other, and also for mentors to gain something out of it themselves as well. Secondly, rather than having multiple kickoff ceremonies where we were a bit disjointed, we had one kickoff ceremony where majority of mentees could meet their mentors all at once. We also introduced the leaderboard so people could see how well their team was going points-wise. And also, at the end of the program, rather than just having a prize for just the top team, to maintain engagement, we also gave people the opportunity to spend their points by having lots of food prizes and also lots of cool vouchers such as pub crawl and hoodies. And also, lastly, we basically made a script to organise the groups, and we also considered the LGAs on top of the degrees. Some statistics for this year, we had 443 mentees that just registered, and we had probably 20 more last-minute sign-ups throughout the term. We had 109 amazing mentors. So overall, the program we had more than 550, which is an insane number. Each mentor group had 2 or 3 mentors with almost up to 12 mentees, and overall 51 mentor groups. And compared to previous years, I feel like there has been a lot of continued engagement, even in the later half terms, because of our challenges. And we had a midpoint checkup, which had more than 250 attendees, which is a crazy number. Some of our term 1 events, like the peer mentoring kickoff, which had 350 attendees, board games night, sports day with Benchlock, Easter egg hunt, and our Christmas ceremony, which was trivia night. And these are some photos for the peer mentoring groups. Our term 2 events, we had a lot of collaborations. This is wrong, but this is the CSESoc AGM paintball. One of our first events. It was really successful. We actually made a lot of profit, and also I think a lot of people really enjoyed it because it hasn't really been done by most university studies before. This is CSESoc, CPMsoc board games night. Also really good because a lot of new attendees that we've never seen before came and really enjoyed the night. This is the CSESoc bouldering. Also really good attendance. We had more than 100 people come, and we had to herd them all to block 9 degrees in Waterloo. And then also our wellbeing event, CSESoc shows last week at the end of last term, was really successful and had lots of different people, even little kids came, which is really cute and awesome. And then for this term, we have a lot of events coming up. In week 1, we had CSESoc Episoc Hot Pot Buffet. Really successful, lots of people came. Thank you to Jen, Lotus, and Davis for organising that. Recently, yesterday, we had Chuck and Debug, which had 105 registered attendees, and that was really successful. People really enjoyed it, and they really enjoyed the aspect that it was beginner-friendly. Some people didn't even know what HackerRank was until then, so it was really good. Upcoming, we had an outdoor movie night. Subcom planning that, so it's in the works, and a charity blood drive, and then one more event to finish us off, but that's going to be a surprise. So all these events wouldn't have happened without so many amazing subcoms. So big shout out to Jen, Davis, Ricky, Susie, Lotus, Lara, Jalaj, Chris, and Sunny for helping us bring this to life. So thank you guys.
And that's it from all our portfolios. Just for me, I'd like to say also a personal thank you to all our directors and subcom in the society. Us exec, we're kind of useless on our own, right? Without you guys, we couldn't have done even a fraction of the things that CSESoc has managed to do. So big shout out once again to everyone. On to something a little more, procedure-based. So we have a couple of changes in our constitution that we are required to vote on. So the changes all originate. So I'll give a little bit of context, right? So CSESoc has traditionally been split into sort of an internals-externals team and a development team. As of this year, the development team has gotten so large that we have made the decision to split them into an entirely new society. So that's UNSW Software Development Society, AGM next week, something like that, sometime next week. So yeah, keep an eye out for them and their events. So the changes that we have made, is the computing union that we have going on now. Alright, so the first constitutional change that I'd like to announce. First of all, we will be changing the Vice President's development, the two Executive Vice President's development, to a single Vice President technical. So the Vice President technical will be overseeing all the technical components of the internal team, including the internal projects that we are retaining from CSESoc development, such as the internal CSESoc website and the Discord bot, I believe, as well as technical events such as educational focused workshops and potentially competitions as well. And they will be managing a lot of the technical infrastructure as well as assisting directors with their duties whenever they're required. The exact wording is on the screen as follows. So I moved to add the Vice President technical to the Constitution. Do I have a seconder for this motion?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And could we please do a vote? So if you agree with this motion, could you please put your hand up? All right, great. Yes, that's passed with overwhelming support. Thank you. All right, the second constitutional change regards our relationship with the newly formed Software Development Society, so DevSoc. So the major detail that you might be interested in is essentially CSESoc and DevSoc will have a shared funding pool. So DevSoc will assist with the sponsorship drive, possibly by offering their own benefits to sponsors or ability to collaborate on the prospectus itself. In exchange, the treasurer of CSESoc and the treasurer or equivalent position of DevSoc will negotiate a funding agreement with a maximum of 15% of CSESoc's gross income annually. So yes, that's the main gist of things. I moved to add this clause to the Constitution as well. Do I have a seconder for this motion?
Yeah.
Yay, thank you. And again, can we do a vote, please? Who agrees to this motion? Yes, overwhelming support. Who would have guessed? Thank you very much. All right. Now, what you've been waiting for. So we will now announce the election results. Alright, so again, just a little bit of context. All results were calculated using single transferable voting method. So preferences were taken into account and all votes for abstain and incorrectly completed ballots we discarded. So that forms the basis for our voting system. So if I say you are a successful exec, I will ask you to accept the position. You can also turn it down, but you'll just have to yell out like, I accept or something. If there's any objections to any of these executives, these may be raised after all the results are announced. I'll talk about it if there are any objections. Okay, so Eliza asked me to go through the objection process. Essentially, at the very end, I will pass a motion, I'll attempt to pass a motion being like, I move to accept these executive team. So if you have an objection at that point, you can counter that motion, come up here, maybe explain your reasoning, and then we'll do a vote for everyone that is present, whether we pass the motion or not. Make sense? Alright, our first position is Vice President Technical. So we had 4 nominees for this position. We had Jason Lim, Kieran Hyun, Matthew Lim, and Prithvi Sajit. Alright, so our Vice President Technical for 2024 is Matthew Lim. Matthew, do you accept this position?
I accept this position.
Thank you. I'll ask everyone to come down to a photo at the end, by the way. Alright, our next position is Vice President Internal. So this year we had 3 nominees for the position. We had Amy Liu, Leslie Liu, and Samuel Zeti. So our Vice President of Internals for 2024 is Amy Liu. Amy, do you accept this position?
I accept.
Our next position is Vice President External. So for this position, we had 2 nominees. We had Anish Sangvi and Nicole Jarron. Our Vice President External for 2024 is Nicole Jarron. Nicole, do you accept this position? Our next position is the Jedi Officer. Oh, careful, is there? Okay, our Jedi Officer, so Jedi stands for Grievance, Equity, Diversity and Inclusion. So we had 3 nominees for this position. We had Catherine Kim, Morgan Swap and Varun Penwal. So our Jedi Officer for 2024 is Catherine Kim. Catherine, do you accept this position? I accept. Yay, thank you. So, next position is ARC Delegate. So we had 3 nominees for this position. We had Asha Nadeem, Catherine Kim, and Sophie Cole. And our ARC Delegate for 2024 is Sophie Cole. Sophie, do you accept this position? I accept. Our next position is the Secretary. So, the Secretary, we had 4 nominees for this position as well. So we had Elizabeth Zhu Chan, Ivan Chan, Matthew Lim, and Samuel Zen. And our Secretary for 2024 is Ivan Chan. Ivan, do you accept this position?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Alright, so for Treasurer, we had 3 nominees. We had Ivan Chan, Justin Sun, and Varun Penwali. And our Treasurer for 2024 is Justin Sun. Justin, do you accept this position?
I accept.
Thank you. And last but not least, we have our 2 co-presidents. So our co-president nominees were Anish Sangvi, Elizabeth Zhu Chan, Leslie Liu, and Sophie Cole. So our first co-president for 2024 is Elizabeth Zhu Chan. Do you accept this position? And our second co-president for 2024 is Leslie Liu. Leslie, do you accept this position? Alright, that's our executive team for 2024. I'm now moved to accept this executive team. Do I have a seconder to this motion? Yeah. I believe we need to do a vote again. So do we? I think it. No? Okay, no vote. We voted earlier with the ballot, so we don't need to do it. Do we have any objections? No objections. Very nice. Very good. Alright. And as per ARC regulation, we require at least 3 bank signatories for our society. So as is tradition for CSESoc, our 3 bank signatories will be our treasurer and our 2 co-presidents. So those are Elizabeth Zhu Chan, Leslie Liu, and Justin Sun. So if there are any disagreements to this, we'll negotiate after the AGM. Alright, thank you very much. Can we get all the new execs to come down and we'll get a photo of everyone together. That concludes the formal proceedings of the AGM. Does anyone have any business without notice? Or any questions, comments, complaints, things